Christine Brennan is after making a suggestion for why DeWanna Bonner maybe left the Indiana Fever, and her reasoning is crazy if true.
Something just happened that no one saw coming. WNBA veteran DeWanna Bonner has officially been waived by the Indiana Fever after mysteriously going off the grid for weeks. But now, a shocking new report by journalist Christine Brennan is turning heads, suggesting that the truth behind Bonner's sudden exit runs way deeper than just basketball. This isn't just a roster move, it could be the unraveling of something much bigger behind the scenes. So what really caused the rift between Bonner and the Fever? Was it personal? Was it about Caitlin Clark? Drop your theories in the comments. This one's far from over.
The DeWanna Bonner situation is one of the most unprofessional things I have ever seen in any level of professional sports, and it has to be addressed. If you're not familiar, DeWanna Bonner is cut from the Indiana Fever. We have just waived her and we brought back Ari McDonald. DeWanna Bonner has not played in the last few Indiana Fever games, and we were all thinking it was because of personal reasons, and all us Indiana Fever fans were thinking it was something big. I even said on a few of my live streams,
let's dive into this total mess, because the situation with DeWanna Bonner and the Indiana Fever just took a wild turn no one saw coming. The 37-year-old WNBA vet was officially waived on Wednesday after playing in only 9 games. But the real drama, that's coming straight from a jaw-dropping report by journalist Christine Brennan, and it might just explain everything. Now, before we get into the real tea, here's what went down. Bonner signed a 1-year deal with the Fever during the offseason, brought in to be a steady veteran presence alongside rising star Caitlin Clark. This wasn't just a depth move. Bonner was meant to be a cornerstone for a young team trying to find its footing in Clark's second pro season. But buckle up, because this story is about to get messy.
Yesterday that DeWanna Bonner had no intention of coming back to the Indiana Fever. So initially we were wondering, hey, what is the reason? And the media has been feeding us this lie. The main reason why DeWanna Bonner is dipping out is because she wants to be in a starting position, and maybe she's mad about Lexi Holt outperforming her. Maybe she's mad about the fact that she's not getting the position of Natasha Howard on the team, and she's just been benched because she has not been playing well. They've also been saying that the fit is not well because she's a very slow player in a team that likes to play really fast. These are good concerns, and these are true probably to a certain extent, but that's not the end of it. What they've been trying to hide is the fact that DeWanna Bonner is leaving to go play with her.
According to several league insiders, DeWanna Bonner had zero intention of ever suiting up for the Fever again. She reportedly vanished from the team, citing personal reasons, and was MIA for weeks before Indiana finally cut ties. And sure, we've seen player team drama before, but what Christine Brennan just uncovered, this takes it to a whole new level.
As much as Christine Brennan does very much lean anti-WNBA, she's still Christine Brennan. Like, I know a lot of people want to say, oh, Christine Brennan is this, Christine Brennan is that, but at the end of the day, Christine Brennan is Christine Brennan. She is arguably the most important female sports journalist of all time.
Christine Brennan, arguably the most respected woman in sports journalism, went on ESPN and dropped some insider details that have the entire league buzzing. And let's be clear, this isn't some click-chasing blogger tossing out wild theories. Brennan's reputation is rock solid. If she were just speculating, it would destroy everything she's built. So you know she's coming with facts.
So here's what she said about DeWanna Bonner.
Look at DeWanna Bonner, and there's reporting on her, and I don't have any inside reporting. So DeWanna Bonner was brought in by Stephanie White, the new coach, formerly a Fever player and coach as well, for the Fever, brought from Connecticut, and she wanted to bring her star veteran, 37-year-old DeWanna Bonner, as a stabilizing influence. A leader went out in 2 games in the playoffs, and they needed more depth and more leadership and more veteran savvy, etc. So that's the decision that Stephanie White makes. Within a couple of games, DeWanna Bonner is not playing well, and then she disappears, and then she's literally now gone and says she doesn't want to play, and she wants to trade, and
so
we'll see what's
weird
with Phoenix and all of that.
Yeah.
Well, it is, but the little
we know up to that point. We know she was playing badly. She did.
Here's the bombshell Brennan dropped. The spotlight on the Fever right now is intense, and instead of embracing it, running with it, and capitalizing on the attention, something shifted. Caitlin Clark can't do every media event, every endorsement, every appearance, so naturally her teammates, like Bonner, were getting opportunities too. It should have been a win for everyone, but according to Brennan, that pressure, that fame, either became too much for Bonner or simply wasn't something she wanted to be part of.
No, like this next part is the crazy part. And this next part is why I'm making this video. Because up to this point, from what Christine Brennan said, and this is Christine Brennan on ESPN LA. And it's a video titled Christine Brennan thinks Caitlin Clark can do the unthinkable.
Little clue here. I was at that game May 17th, that home opener for the Fever against Chicago, and they just absolutely steamrolled them over 30 points. Great game by the Fever. And Bonner made it third all time at scoring, and had like some points. Her interview right afterwards, it's a joyous moment, right? I mean, we've all seen these interviews. And Ramona, you've done them. I've done them. We were talking to the player. This is easy stuff. And she goes, I was shocked. She said at the crowd. I've never seen anything like this. Never experienced anything like this before. And I thought, what an interesting thing to say. Honest, yay, we love honesty. Yeah. But she's 37 and she's never seen anything like this. She meant it's 17,000 people, packed house, going crazy. They know their basketball, and they love you, and they love Caitlin, and they love everything about the team that Bonner is now on. Great, okay. And in talking to a source or two, it appears that Bonner was unable to, in some way, shape, or form, just deal with that spot.
Hold up, are we really saying that DeWanna Bonner, a 16-year WNBA veteran, multi-time champion, and one of the league's most respected names, couldn't handle the spotlight that comes with sharing the court with Caitlin Clark? That's wild. But things get even crazier when you hear what Christine Brennan just uncovered. Brennan recalled one quote from Bonner that hits way harder now than it did at the time. After the Fever's home opener on May 17th, Bonner said, "The crowd kind of shocked me a little bit. This is my first time playing in this kind of environment." Now think about that. This is DeWanna Bonner, a 6-time All-Star, a WNBA champion, someone who's been in the most intense playoff environments. And she's saying this crowd was something she's never felt before. That's the Caitlin Clark effect in full force. We're not talking about regular WNBA crowds anymore. We're talking sold-out arenas, 17,000 fans screaming, hanging on to every pass, every shot, every moment. The kind of environment that feels more like an NBA Finals game than a regular season tip-off. And Brennan's theory, Bonner didn't want it, couldn't adjust to it, didn't sign up for this level of pressure and attention. When you play next to Caitlin Clark, you're not just on the court, you're on stage. Every move gets magnified, every stat line becomes a headline. It's not just basketball, it's a national conversation, and not every player is built for that. Bonner's numbers weren't bad, 7.1 points and 3.8 rebounds per game, but they weren't anywhere close to what you'd expect from a player of her experience. She looked out of place, and now we might finally know why. Let's talk about how it all unraveled. Bonner signed a 1-year deal with the Fever back in February, started in the first 3 games of the season, and then on May 17th, boom, she becomes the 3rd highest scorer in WNBA history with 7,189 career points. That should have been a turning point, but instead things spiraled. She got moved to the bench, minutes dropped, then she just vanished. She hasn't played since June 10th, and all we got from the team was personal reasons. But now we're hearing those personal reasons might have been deeper than anyone thought. She wasn't just stepping away for life off the court, she was stepping away from everything the Fever had become. Here's the part Christine Brennan emphasized that really exposes how big this situation is. Playing alongside Caitlin Clark is a financial opportunity most WNBA players could only dream of. Clark can't handle every promo, every brand deal, every media day. So her teammates, they're getting overflow exposure, endorsements, appearances, autographs, money, but Bonner wanted no part of that circus, which honestly, that's her choice, but it's shocking. She could have ended her career riding the wave of the most watched team in women's basketball. She could have cashed out on a spotlight that doesn't come around often. Instead, she chose to walk away, and now the ripple effects are being felt far beyond the Fever locker room. The Caitlin Clark phenomenon is undeniable. Her presence pulls massive TV ratings, fills arenas, and drives social media engagement the WNBA has never seen before. But what's becoming crystal clear is this: not everyone can thrive in that spotlight. Let's rewind to what DeWanna Bonner was supposed to be for Indiana. Clark had high praise for the 6-time All-Star when the Fever signed her to a 1-year deal back in February. It wasn't just about skill, it was leadership, experience, and presence. thanks. Clark even said, just the way she talks and she leads. For me, as a second-year point guard, I want to win for her. This is the end of her career. She deserves it. That wasn't just a compliment. That was a message. The team believed in Bonner. They brought her in to stabilize the roster, to guide a young core, and to be a steady veteran alongside one of the most talked about stars in basketball. But instead of stepping up, Bonner seemed to shrink under the pressure. Now, let's be honest, some people are going to call this speculation. They'll say Christine Brennan's theory about Bonner not being able to handle the pressure is just that. A theory. But here's the thing, Brennan isn't some hot take blogger tossing out gossip. She's one of the most trusted voices in sports journalism. She doesn't speak unless she has a reason to, and when you connect the dots, her take starts to make sense. Bonner's own comment after the May 17th home game was telling. The crowd kind of shocked me a little bit. This is my first time playing in this kind of environment. That's not just any player saying that. That's DeWanna Bonner, a future Hall of Famer, admitting she'd never experienced anything like the environment Caitlin Clark created. And the numbers reflect the same struggle. Bonner's stats were underwhelming, 7.1 points and 3.8 rebounds per game. Solid, but nowhere near what you'd expect from someone of her caliber. Her minutes started to dip, then she was benched. Then she vanished from the rotation completely, missing multiple games due to personal reasons. And now we're hearing those reasons may be rooted in the overwhelming spotlight of playing with Clark. That spotlight, it's a double-edged sword. On one side, there's unprecedented exposure. Endorsements, appearances, media attention. The Fever aren't just a basketball team right now, they're a brand, a machine. Clark can't attend every event or sign every deal, so her teammates benefit from that overflow. It's a goldmine for anyone who's ready to capitalize. But Bonner, according to Brennan's reporting, she wanted no part of it. That choice may be valid, but it's still shocking. Bonner could have coasted through this final stretch of her career while cashing in on the biggest wave of momentum the WNBA has ever seen. Instead, she walked away. She left not just the team, but the moment. And now, after being waived, Bonner took to Instagram to defend herself. A quitter? Nah, never been that. But when the time comes, let's just make sure the apologies are just as loud as the disrespect. Clearly, she's frustrated with the narrative that's taken shape, and that's understandable. No one wants to be painted as someone who backed down when the heat got real. But if Brennan's theory holds up, the truth is simple. Bonner couldn't adjust to the reality of what playing next to Caitlin Clark actually means. It's not just about showing up on game day. It's about media pressure. It's about national headlines. It's about constantly being in the eye of the storm. From a business angle, this fallout is massive. Bonner was one of the most high-profile free agents in the offseason. She signed with Indiana for $200,000, a major contract. She could have ended her career as part of something historic. Now, she's on waivers, and any team can grab her for free. Word is, Bonner has her sights set on the Phoenix Mercury or the Atlanta Dream, teams where she can play a leading role again, not as someone in the background, not as a supporting cast member. That speaks volumes. Christine Brennan's theory that DeWanna Bonner couldn't handle the intense spotlight surrounding Caitlin Clark raises a much bigger issue, just how dramatically the WNBA has evolved since Clark entered the league. The attention, the pressure, the expectations, it's on another level now. Some players are thriving in this high-stakes environment. Others, they're realizing this new era may not be for them, and from the Indiana Fever's perspective, this whole saga has to feel like a major setback. They brought in Bonner to be a steady veteran leader, someone who could help mentor a young, talented roster and anchor the team alongside Clark. But instead of consistency, they got 9 games of underwhelming production, followed by a wave of drama. With Bonner now officially out, Indiana had to act fast, bringing back Ari McDonald to fill the gap for the rest of the season. But the bigger question is, what could have been? Had Bonner embraced the moment, leaned into the chaos, and stepped into the leadership role they signed her for, this Fever team could have looked like a legit contender. Instead, they're adjusting rotations, managing team chemistry, and trying to steady the ship midseason. And let's not pretend this would have unfolded the same way without Caitlin Clark on the roster. That's not a shot at Clark. In fact, it's the opposite. It's just the reality of playing alongside a generational star. With her comes a media storm, jam-packed arenas, and national level attention that few few in the WNBA have ever dealt with before. Not every player is built for that level of intensity. What makes this situation even more intriguing is how it mirrors the broader friction we've seen around Clark's rise. There's been subtle, and sometimes not so subtle, pushback from players, and even some members of the media. It's clear that the level of attention Clark receives doesn't sit well with everyone, and maybe, just maybe, Bonner didn't want to be caught in that narrative every single game. The timing of all this couldn't be more crucial. The Fever are sitting at 7-7 and are gearing up for a critical matchup against the LA Sparks. A win would push them above .500 for the first time this season. They're in the playoff hunt, and now they're dealing with internal distractions and roster uncertainty right when momentum matters most. Looking ahead, this may be a warning sign for other veteran players thinking about joining high-profile teams. Sure, the endorsements, exposure, and spotlight are tempting, but if you're not mentally prepared to handle the constant noise, you could find yourself overwhelmed fast. So that's the story according to Christine Brennan. DeWanna Bonner didn't walk away because of poor play, but because the pressure of playing next to Caitlin Clark was simply too much. Do you believe it, or do you think there's more to the story? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit like if this made you think, and don't forget to subscribe for more WNBA updates and drama, because this league is just getting started.